about the last session where something shifted inside you, not in your client, in you. That moment when you went from truly listening to something else. Maybe you started formulating your next question. Maybe you decided you knew what was really going on. Whatever it was, something closed. And in that closing, something was lost. That's what we're going to explore today. So I want you to actually sit with this for a moment. I'm not asking rhetorically, what is it that makes you stop being fully present with a client? Maybe it's a certain topic they bring up. Maybe it's when they get emotional in a particular way. Maybe it's when they remind you of something. I worked with a coach once who realized she shut down every single time a client mentioned money problems. She'd been carrying her own financial anxiety into every session, and she had no idea until she started paying attention. Here's the thing, there are physical signals too. Your shoulders might creep up toward your ears, your breathing gets shallow, you might even lean back slightly, like you're creating distance. Notice what happens in your body when uncertainty shows up. Now, let's look at what ICF asks of us here. This is Marker 2.09 in Competency 2, and the language is specific. We're called to nurture openness and curiosity. Not just have it, nurture it. And that nurturing happens in 3 places simultaneously. First, in yourself, because you can't create what you don't have. Second, in your client, because your state influences theirs. And third, in the process itself, because the coaching container needs tending. That's a lot to hold at once. And that's intentional. I want you to understand something about this marker. This is brand new for 2025. ICF added this because they recognize something that experienced coaches already know. Being open isn't a personality trait you either have or you don't. It's a practice, something you cultivate deliberately over and over. The word nurtures tells you everything. You don't just decide to be open once and call it done. You tend to it like a garden, constantly. You notice when you've contracted, and you consciously choose to expand again. Not forcing yourself, choosing. There's a difference. So what does this actually look like when you're sitting with a client? It means you show up without already knowing where the conversation needs to go. You might have a hypothesis about what's happening for them, and you hold it loosely enough that you're genuinely willing to be completely wrong. You approach each moment like it might surprise you because it might. And here's the hard one. You get comfortable with not knowing. You resist that urge to wrap things up neatly or rush towards solutions. I see coaches struggle with this. They think being open means having no opinions, no observations, nothing. That's not it. You can notice things, sense things, wonder about things. You just don't grip them so tightly that there's no room for what else might be true. Let me walk you through the patterns that shut us down, because recognizing them is where the work actually starts. When you feel certain about what's really going on with your client, that certainty closes doors. When you feel rushed, maybe the session is almost over. Maybe you've got another client waiting. That pressure contracts you. When something feels threatening, maybe the client is challenging your competence, or they've brought up something uncomfortable. Your nervous system responds by closing down. When you slip into evaluating or critiquing what the client is saying or doing, even silently, curiosity disappears. And when you have an agenda, when you need them to reach a particular insight or make a specific decision, you've already stopped being open to whatever actually needs to emerge. And that's okay. That's human. The skill isn't in never closing. It's in noticing when you have and choosing to open again. So here's what I want you to take from this. You can't make a different choice until you see what you're doing now. That's why awareness comes first. Start watching yourself without judgment and get curious about your own patterns. And remember, this isn't about whether you're naturally an open, curious person. Some people think, oh, I'm curious by nature. I don't need to work on this. That's like saying you're naturally athletic, so you don't need to train. This is deliberate cultivation, especially when it's uncomfortable, especially when you don't feel like it. Openness creates the space, but space alone isn't enough. Curiosity is what fills it with discovery. That's where we're headed next.